And what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? What a day in store it was today. We continued to rally. It doesn't look like anything is stopping this market. I must say, I backed out. It was coming close to the all-time highs. There was a lot of resistance there. I've backed out as of essentially all my positions except two in particular. One I've been holding over the past day. Another one I picked up just before close. So before we get started, remember to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. So what is going on with the market? The market is going back, or actually just hit all-time highs again before close. I wasn't quite sure if we were going to break it or not. It did. I did liquidate essentially all my positions. So if you are holding any leaps or anything like that, congratulations to you for NGA or any of those renewables. I did cut essentially all my positions except two positions. Again, my one position I took with Planet 13 the other day, and I picked up Palantir as well towards the end of the day because I liked it on the daily. Now, being said, right, you should always have the wherewithal on what positions you're going to take, risk management, whatever the case. I myself, I didn't like the way the market was moving, so I wanted to back out and be light overnight. That's not saying I don't like NGA. I still love NGA. I am waiting for a pullback. Again, at this point, I've talked up to this point that I wanted to be liquid. Yes, I want to be liquid because I think at some point here, I think we might run for another week. We do have some great earnings. There was a lot of earnings after hours. There was a lot of big breakout stocks. There was a lot of disappointments, to be honest. There were some big moves after hours today. I think some of the bigger movements aside from Amazon and Google this past week, but there have been some big movements after hours again with Snap, with Activision. There's a couple other ones that had some huge moves up and down. So being said, it'd be interesting to see. We have ran 4 straight days of green. We have been bull strong for 4 straight days. I thought we were getting close to the end. Normally, my predictor is pretty good. It's off by a couple clicks, so we still might have a couple days before we start to sell off. Again, is this going to be the sell-off? I don't know, but I want to be liquid. I don't want to be in a lot of long-term positions until we have that correction. Being said, let me stop with the jabbering and throw on the charts. So looking at Snap there, Snap after hours, it did tank. I don't know exactly what the numbers were, but it looks like they beat estimates. But being said, I haven't really looked at Snap, but let's jump over to SPY here. So we did break out to all-time highs. It really struggled. We really just kind of bled up once we head to this point. I said yesterday it needed to break up or else we're going to be in trouble. It did break up. Now it looks like we're retesting. Are we going to gap up and then pull back tomorrow back into the zone? Or are we going to test and then pop overnight and then sell some more tomorrow? It's hard to tell. Like I said, leading up to this point, I was kind of expecting it to run for another week or two, possibly. But I think we're going to see a little bit more red. Primarily, probably more red on March. Again, this is just my guess. But more than likely, that's why I liquidated a lot of my positions. A lot of the renewables were, in my opinion, they were taking too long only because of the way the market was reacting. And again, it was at a resistance. That's why I backed out of a lot of my positions. You have to understand that you have to adjust the way I trade. I am kind of like an active investor. So if I feel at all that something is not right in the market, I will back out of positions, even though I do have high conviction in some. A good example would be Square, and another good example would be NGA as well. I had good conviction in them, but I wasn't liking the way the market moves. Being said, right, like I broke even on those trades. Essentially, is what has happened. I did take some red on NG. I know my leaps in the shares that I had, I did take some red, but considering the fact that I've already made money on the way up before it started pulling back, it kind of just evens out. That's kind of why this game is played. If you don't realize that by now, you have to realize that this game, you have to win the war and not the battles. You're not going to be perfect. You name me one trader that is perfect on every call. It's not going to happen. Right? There's a lot of traders that swing trade like I do, and that's primarily the safest way. That's why I like to talk about the swing trading and stuff. It's not something I typically did for a while. I was normally scalping for a long time, but then I found correcting a lot of my actions that swinging was the best, but it was hard to do it in the market that we were in. But being said, if you are swinging shares and leaps, those are the best thing in your favor. Again, I do scalp and all that stuff periodically here and there if there's a good setup. Ultimately, right now, nothing is in a position in which I want to go heavy on because stuff needs to pull back at this point. So at this point, I'm not going to load the boat on anything. It's going to be intraday until we have that correction. Is that correction going to be 10%? Is that correction going to be 25%? Some people are predicting some major corrections. I don't think it's going to be a major correction, but I could see a good 10% correction on the market. So Friday, again, we've been doing nothing but climbing for 4 days. We might see some major selling tomorrow. Maybe that's where it's leading us. I mean, if you even look back on, so where are we at? 3 years on a weekly, right? If you even look back onto before last March, obviously we had COVID. That's why we came flying down. But, even before COVID, we had this correction here. Right, this was back in December. It's back in December, and then we started climbing. We had some short drops in between. It's kind of just repeating that pattern. Again, we haven't really had a major correction. We had this correction on a weekly, and then we just shot straight back up. Again, I felt conviction that we were going to fly back up on that particular one, only because of the fact that we had earnings, and the new earnings would pull us back out of the hole. Being said, we're at all-time highs again, except these are some big candles. Just saying, a lot of these other candles aren't quite as big, but being said, I think earnings definitely helped, right? I think everybody's starting to see the numbers are starting to come out. Everything is starting to look back to normal. Unemployment numbers came out. They were better than expected. I think that helped boost everything again today. Being said, tomorrow, maybe we run for another day. I don't know. To be honest, I'm not betting on that. I know this year will be good. I know stuff is looking good, but we are still due for a correction. Every couple of months, we have to have that correction. And I don't know when that's going to be. Again, it's only the beginning of February, so maybe we might go, like I said, another week. You're looking mid-February into March, see a lot more red than we have green. I've been kind of trying to predict like where we might actually drop from that point, because I think that's what would be more beneficial to us right now. What I'm kind of looking at, I think for a major pullback, even considering where it's at right now, you're looking at 10% correction. You're looking at about that 349 correction. That's why I have this highlighted down here, or I have this green zone, which is like the daily, and then the white zone is essentially the 1 hour that I think you could really take a position here. But I think we're going to pull back at least to the 350 at some point here in the next month or so. I think that correction is going to lead us maybe not all the way down there, but I think pretty close. There's a couple other different points of support on the way down. So we might not get in there. We might get somewhere in this green zone, maybe not the white zone, but somewhere in the green zone. And then that's when I'll start loading the boat again once we get that far. Again, I don't see any big correction. A 10% correction in the market in general is pretty big. You can see bigger movements within the stocks. So that's why I kind of wanted to start today talking more about projecting what I'm going to see, because of the fact that it is Friday tomorrow. It is Take Profit Friday. So you might not see a lot of big moves tomorrow. You might get some good pumps. Friday is always good for a good pump, and then it dumps, and then you can pick some stuff up for the next week. Typically, sometimes it's better just not to hold, especially right now. I don't really know what's going on. Again, I'm trying to stay liquid. Tesla, I've been kind of debating on this one, like where the next landing point is. I have these ones on the daily. It looks good at this 700 mark, roughly around here. If we could tag down to the 679, I know that's really stretching it, especially for Tesla, but I think we can pull back pretty significantly here. And if that's the case, I will definitely be loading the boat, possibly even looking at leaps for Tesla at that point, only because I project it to do a lot, especially with the automation and everything, and the robo taxis and stuff coming out. I think that is all ahead of schedule. So being said, I think we might start seeing some of those benefits, plus all the energy and everything. Just trying to disconnect from the fact that it's a car and start looking at the battery and the autonomous vehicle. So being said, I think we need a good correction before we start heading up again. I know there's been a lot of sideways movement. I think we're going to sell off though here. I mean, all day it's been struggling. It was under the 200 at one point and struggled to get back up here. Again, I see it just selling off, possibly getting down to that 6, hopefully. It is Tesla. It does have a cult following. We'll see what happens. Square, again, it had the sympathy play off of PayPal, and then it kind of just rattled. It is getting close to the all-time highs. I don't, again, see this breaking here before earnings, which is at the end of the month. So you still got 3 more weeks. So I could possibly even see this pull back again, back down to the 212, again, depending on the market. Go test that 212 again, and then maybe possibly rattle around, and then earnings bring it over that 243. Again, I thought we would have pushed harder. There's just so much uncertainty in the market right now. Again, people have been talking about a market crash for the past 2 months, and we're still going up. So I kind of talked about this yesterday too, that it's best to kind of wait and see what happens. Just kind of let it ride out, especially when people start talking about the market's going to crash, It's always going to crash. And people talk about that all the time. So just really watching the charts. Right now, even the fundamentals and everything look good. But being said, we are due for a correction. And so I think we're coming close to that point. Being said, PayPal, I don't really know why I have PayPal up here. I don't really trade PayPal, but PayPal had a little continuation, kind of sideways today. Airbnb, I wanted to get in this morning because it looked like a great setup. I didn't. I was managing my positions trying to liquidate. That would have been great for scalp. I'll be looking for this tomorrow for scalp as well. Possibly try to go back to that 210 mark and retest that top zone tomorrow. Again, just taking it easy tomorrow. It is Friday. There's no point to trade. You don't have to trade every day. Amazon or Apple's starting to push up with all the car news. Kind of. I mean, it's just been playing range. I think Apple, Facebook, they're all kind of just playing this range. I think tech really looks like it wants to die off. It's been running so hard lately. BYND, again, still waiting for it to come down. I think, in my opinion, still too high. A good thing to hear, because I almost thought about when we had this massive run up to the 227, I almost took puts on this. But the reasoning why I didn't was because when BYND starts getting this momentum like this, what I've always noticed is that it doesn't just stop there, right? Like you had this massive move, it's kind of bottomed out in a massive move. So if I was going to buy Leap puts, yeah, I would have made some profit there, but I was afraid that this thing would start to consolidate, and then I'm like, okay, well, it might consolidate again and then pop and break again. I mean, there's just a lot of positive news, and again, they promote their products so well, and they actually do very well, even though people may not like the product. Being said, they do very well, and it's a very hot product right now. So nonetheless, I'm waiting for this to come back down. Etsy, been crushing it. Actually surprised this hasn't jumped up, because I know Pins just had earnings and they flew up as well. But I missed that today. That was another one I was kind of watching for scalp again, but just trying to limit my positions. Now that I'm only holding 2 positions. Now I'm kind of more focused on the scalping until we get that correction. Disney, it's kind of trading sideways, just waiting for earnings. We got another week, I think, before earnings on that one. I almost took this one. This was the X-ray, the NNOX, the X-rays. I almost took this one. I think the FDA approval stuff is supposed to come out tomorrow, so this might actually fly up tomorrow. I didn't want to take a position because I didn't like where it was at. It was breaking below everything and underneath the 200 moving average, so I didn't want to take it. Again, didn't like the market, so I didn't want to take any new positions. Snow, again, just kind of rattling back and forth. A lot of the big tech is just kind of rattling. They're just sideways. Everything is sideways right now. Spot is holding sideways. That's what kind of makes me believe that we might actually dive down a little bit here towards the end of the month. I think that's what big tech is waiting for now that they kind of got earnings out of the way. I think that's what they're waiting for. Very Good Butchers still waiting. Planet 13, this is one of the ones I am holding. I'd like to see this since, the MJ space is still hot right now. I'm hoping this will gap up to over 628. I don't know if we're going to get to 628. I don't want to really hold this for too long. If we do start getting over 6, I'll put a stop on it because, again, towards the end of the month, I want to be all cash if possible. But I still like Planet 13. Then if there's a correction, I'll just jump back into Planet 13 at that point. Evogen, massive move up today. I completely missed this one. I did like this one, but it's all good. Just wait for a correction. Planters, this is one I did take. It is sitting here nicely. This is actually sitting on the daily. The daily 20, the 20 moving average. So it's consolidating here nicely on the support. And so that is one I took. I didn't take a huge position. Again, this kind of position, I like Planter for the long haul. So it's kind of just threw it in one of those old accounts I don't really watch because I have conviction in the stock. So I just threw it in there. I was like, okay, I'll take a couple shares, throw it in there, and just let it play out for the year. So I'm not completely sitting all cash. TAN. Again, waiting. A lot of these I'm waiting. TSIA, waiting on this. I did exit pretty good yesterday. Exited around 1803, I think, yesterday. It is rattling. Everything looks like it's turning over. A lot of tech is turning over. So that was my kind of telltale sign that everything will start pulling back here. Energy, I still like STPK. I'm out of this one. Again, I took profits yesterday when it pushed up. It was struggling to break the 38 top, so I took profits on that yesterday. SPQRT, if I can even say it, SPRQ is one I also backed out today. I did take red on this. Again, but the positions aren't so huge that I am taking massive hits. I have already made quite a bit of profit for this year, so it's kind of just I've taken a little bit of hits, but if I go back to even for the year or whatever the case is, which I'm not right now, but if I do, it is what it is. I'd rather back out of the position, look for something else that can run, right, and liquidate the funds. If we get a correction, then I can make up more than that very fast. So that you definitely have to adjust on the fly, move to the next trade. Don't get stuck on a trade. That's definitely some of the best advice I can give you. Be patient, and be precise as much as you can. We are imperfect, so just be aware that everybody makes mistakes. Even the most seasoned guys still make mistakes, right? It's trying to win the battle or win the war, not the battle. So again, NIO. A lot of these guys are just trading sideways. NGA, again, I got out of this today. It popped down. I didn't like that. Everything was turning over. I didn't like it, so I got out of it. It is hitting this top channel too, and it's kind of been getting rejected off this top channel. If this does break, we might actually run tomorrow, which I'll be upset if it does run tomorrow. But it is what it is. I wanted to be liquid. I got out of this too, GIK. Just took a little hit on this one, nothing big. MP, still running up. I'm waiting for it to come back down. This one I want to grab. Again, if there's a correction, I want to hold a leap all year on this one after the correction, at least before October, because October is known for selling. So at least over the summer, try to hold that one. SP Space, getting rejected. Everything is It's funny, the market is pushing up, so I don't really know what's pushing up. There must be value stocks that are pushing it up because there's a lot of stocks that kind of just look like they're all turning over. A lot of big tech is just turning over. So I mostly trade big tech. I trade a lot of growth tech stocks. If you haven't noticed already, let's see, Microsoft. Yeah, everything, all tech. Let's see, Amazon. Looks like it was starting to recover a little bit today, but it's still hurting. Google's still holding. Yeah, see, Skills had a nice run today. I wanted to get this earlier before, but I obviously didn't. Skills was one I did like for a gaming platform, but is what it is, SNDL. I've been looking at this, wanting to get in this, but now, I mean, it kind of looked like an ascending wedge, so we're starting to break down. And again, with the market and everything, I have to see what it's looking like. But some of these good names that are running like this, if we get a decent enough correction, POW, I should have held on to that one too. It's all good. SAVA, man, it's selling off like crazy now. I had that massive move and everything's selling off. Yeah, so I don't really know what is holding up the market. Where's BA? And BA could be the one guy that's kind of holding the market up and still pushing. But aside from that, like most tech is just dying for the most part. So remember, tomorrow's take profits. Be careful. The market doesn't always go up. If we go up again tomorrow, that'd be the 5th day straight. If we do open up and gap up, you best be aware that we're going to be doing a lot of selling tomorrow. At least that's what I'm thinking. If we continue to run, then something's broken. But nonetheless, just remember to manage risk, take profit, be adjustable. This game is all about making adjustments on the fly. That's what I do. Till next time, guys, I will see you guys later.